Hey guys, I hope you're all well. I've been umming and ahhing and putting it off whether to share this experience or not. Which I'll get into why I've been putting it off. It's not particularly anything anyone wants to hear or believe, and I don't know if it is something that's going to come to fruition. I hope to God it does not. And I don't want to be accused of fear mongering. So, what I'm going to share with you, I'm just going to say, I don't believe that it's going to happen, and I don't believe that it's not going to happen. I'm kind of neutral because I don't know, because I have these memories, I have these experiences, and I am well aware, with me being in my lab, that number one, these groups, they mess with our memories. Two, they often put us in these doomsday training scenarios through simulations. And three, they often give us simulated experiences that are very real. To us, the experience, the emotions, everything is very real. In fact, you wouldn't know you was in a simulation until sometimes you come out of it. And in this particular experience I'm going to share with you, I have no idea whether it was simulated or real or something that happened on a timeline or a timeline close to our current timeline. Because there's things playing out as we speak, many of you know, in many timelines. And depending on what we are closest to out of those timelines depends on what will kind of like bleed through into this timeline and manifest, if that makes sense. So it's hard to know what came first, the chicken or the egg. I have, as many of us are, we are interdimensional. Sorry, I keep saying that, some of us are multidimensional. We are living and existing in many parallel worlds, alternate realities, and sometimes we can mistaken those as premonitions, but really it's just things that are played out in those other realities and timelines. Does that make sense, guys? Let me know if that makes sense. So I've had dreams all my life, on and off, things that have come to fruition and manifested within seconds of having that vision or dream or experience, and a lot of the time they doesn't come to fruition. It's a bit like with psychics, it's hit and miss. Psychics retrieve information through visions, dreams, um, actual like real-time experiences. So again, they can be taken, their consciousness can be just taken and they're reliving something, and then they come back and then they relay all that information. Hey guys, this is going to happen. Hey, this and that's going to happen. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it don't. It's just how it is. It just depends, because timelines can and do change. Things that are very close to happening and manifesting and coming to fruition can very quickly change again, meaning may not unfold. So I've mentioned a few times, especially on my old channel, my beliefs on the WW3. I do not believe, and still to this day, I do not believe, but again, things could change. But right now, I do not believe we are going to enter World War III. Now, I know there's a lot of tension. There's always tension on the planet between countries and governments and presidents. That's always been a thing. We know they're always trying to push Putin to start World War III or some kind of war. They love to put the finger and the blame on him, and and they just love to push his buttons. And so, yeah, it's hard to tell, because we are in the Matrix, guys. It is hard to tell what is just scripted, what is actually happening, what is real, what is illusions, and this and that and the other. I don't believe it's one or the other. I believe there's all sorts going on. I do believe there are a lot of scripted events, again, to continue with that fear narrative that thankfully many people are kind of waking up from and realizing it's just fear porn. It's just, again, they've got to keep that fear, isn't it, on the planet. Fear controls. And we're seeing that again at the minute with these ice soldiers, who are nothing more than monsters in my eyes. You know, there's a right way to do things and there is an evil way. And right now, you know, they choosing the evil way. Many of you know these ice soldiers. They're detached, they're cold-hearted. A lot of them are psychos. They all they care about is ego, power, money. A bunch of kids, you know, bullies, because that's probably what they were in school. A bunch of bullies, given the green light, being paid big fat checks to basically do what they do best, and that is to bully, as well as other things that they are getting up to. They are, you know, pulling families apart. They are causing havoc. They are harming, killing innocent people. Now, I don't want to get into politics. I don't want to get into, you know, the whole situation with that at the minute. Obviously, we know just quickly that these are immigrants. People that were not born in America, and now they've been told well, not even that. That's the thing. They're not even being told. Instead of doing it the right way, perhaps they should have sent letters out. These people have got to attend at this place at this time, go through the paperwork, send them back home if that's really what they want to do. Do it the right way, the professional way, the grown up and mature way. You know, yes, it's still going to be upsetting for a lot of these people, these families. Yeah, again, I don't agree with it. Personally, they shouldn't have allowed them in the country. I know a lot of them are illegal immigrants, that's another thing. But, you know, still, there's a right way and a wrong way of doing things. And what we are seeing, how these people are being treated and the trauma that they're going through, and children as well, is absolutely diabolical. I just think it's absolutely disgusting. And I just believe that's deliberate, another way to, and I do believe it's real. I don't believe it's fake or crisis actors. Not everything's fake in crisis actors. This is a real thing. People are being harmed. People are being killed. You know, they could have done it a better way, but they chose to do it this way, you know, and these ice soldiers are having a field of a day, or whatever that saying is. They are loving it. They're in their element, thinking they're the business and whatever. Absolutely disgusting. And the fact that Trump is allowed this, ordered this, and people are siding with Trump, you know, it just shows you what kind of people these are. You know, no one deserves to be beaten, abused, pushed to the ground. Pregnant women pushed to the ground on their bellies, children losing their lives because of things being sprayed, tear gas or whatever it is they're spraying. You know, absolutely disgusting. So yeah, I don't know why we got onto that, but you know, that's what's happening right now. It is very important. So yeah, so there's a lot of tension right now. Why now? Why now? Again, everything's timing. Is this a distraction as well from the Epstein files? Is this a distraction from what's happening with Greenland? Trump wants to get his hands on Greenland, and that is upsetting a lot of people, and rightly so. You know, that is not his land. What does he want to get his hands on? Now, many of you might have seen the video before this. I've done a compilation of just things that I've seen on TikTok videos, some theories, conspiracies in regards to what really is so important in Greenland that these countries are fighting over. I say countries are fighting over, mostly Trump. You know, weapons, minerals, I don't know, megastructures. It's the ice hiding things that were deliberately kept secret for a long time, and now the ice is melting. You know, I've heard many things, um, even down to arcs, huge crafts. You know, me personally, I believe there's all sorts. I believe there's military bases. I believe there are things hidden. There's been experiments, perhaps a bit of cloning. There's some things there. And I believe they just want to get their hands on, you know, some weapons and other things like that. That's what I feel. I could be wrong, but that's what I feel. Sorry for the scratching, guys. So yeah, it's tension is going to rise. It's going to build up. It's going to build up. Now, again, that's what I'm saying. It's hard. Why? It's always timing. It's like everything's all coming to a head, and we haven't even started yet. We're going to see a lot more chaos in the world. A lot more truths coming to the surface. A lot more countries fighting, arguing, protecting things that they don't want to come out, meaning the Epstein file list, even though pretty much that's come out in some sense. But yeah, so, it's hard, isn't it, guys? It really is hard to not try and get caught up in all of that. It really is difficult. And, we as people, we want to know what's going on. Are we safe? Is this something we should know about? But then again, it's like, it's hard, so we've got to kind of observe and not absorb. That's kind of what I am at the minute. I'm not letting it stress me out. I'm kind of just observing everything, what's unfolding. I'm not wasting my time, I'm not on social media 24/7 every day, because that would just drive you insane. So I'm just observing, will all this blow over? Will it just blow over? A bit like with the frigging Three Eye Atlas, here today, gone tomorrow. The fires in Hollywood, or was it California, all that. Here tomorrow, gone, here today, gone tomorrow. It's just like everything's timing. And these were real events, as well. Not everything's fake. But it's always the timing of things, isn't it? So yeah, guys, a lot is going on. Many of you know. And many of you choose not to know because you don't want to. I don't know. I'm not judging, guys. There are some ignorant folk out there. It's like, what can we do? What can we do? Or if you think you're feeding it, you're making it worse, and all that. Don't give it attention. So there's a mixed bunch, really. You can observe and not absorb. Don't have to be ignorant. This is why a lot of this shit on the planet is unfolding, and all these things have happened on the planet. It's because we've turned a blind eye. We didn't want to believe. We were ignorant. We didn't want to believe in the old tales and the old conspiracies. It's going to get to a point where we're going to have to face it, whether we like it or not. Again, we don't have to be fearful, but we have to acknowledge what is going on the planet and what's being done and what continues to be done to us. You can't escape it. What are you going to do if your country and you've got these soldiers turning up at your door, dragging you and your family out, putting you in vehicles, military vehicles, and taking you and putting you in FEMA camps or some kind of pop-up camps? Yes, I've had those dreams as well, and experiences. I've shared them. So there's going to be a lot of things to unfold. At the minute, it seems to be the US. It may calm down, and then it may be somewhere else in Europe, perhaps my own country, England. We've got our own issues as well. Our governments they've got some tricks up their sleeves. They're planning something. They've got something going on. We've got illegal aliens here. We've got, air quote, refugees, working men, young men with no children, no families, that are being housed and, in these governments given first, being prioritised over people in our own country that can't get homes, can't get NHS treatment, can't get certain benefits. We are kind of being pushed to the bottom, and all these refugees, these illegal immigrants that are coming in, still by the days on their rubber dinghies, they are being protected and they are being cared for by our own governments. So, and they're also, every now and again, you hear about them causing troubles on the streets, harming children, young girls, if you know what I mean. If you know, you know. We can't protect ourselves. We don't have laws here to have guns. We can't even use pepper spray. If we harmed someone that was attacking us, we would go to prison. We are going to prison because of our opinions, because we're speaking out on what we see, what we know, what is clearly happening. Many of you know this. They are releasing people from prisons that have done serious things. We literally, like a lot of places over the world, but England's very small. We have so many murderers running around because they've been released early. We've got children going missing all the time. It's literally getting like America. But we can't defend ourselves, we can't protect ourselves, and if we do, we end up in prison. It's absolutely, it's disgusting. And I've had visions, I've had experiences, many of you know, as in my lab, I have times where I've been on missions, I've been given orders to do things, and because of that, I've seen things. I also have my own abilities. I do remote view occasionally, or I will, like I say, it's like I'm put in the future, whether by these groups, my lab, that put me in the future, they put many like me in the future. Say future, but they put us in a different timeline, a timeline that is ahead of ours. They kind of see through our eyes, so we can report back on what we see and how things are going to unfold, depending on what move they make, and things like that. So, but yeah, I have had experiences where I've been in the future, guys, and I was there in my own home, men, military men, not our own men. I believe they were taken elsewhere in other countries for other conflicts. And I don't want to go as far as saying, is the government responsible? If this happens, by the way, I don't know. I just know our government's up to something, but in this experience, real experience, they were men. They were Middle Eastern men. That's all I'm going to say. I'm assuming the men that are here, the sleeper cells, the sleeper soldiers. I don't know, guys. I'm trying to figure this out myself. But anyway, they were dragging women and children out of their homes in front of me. And then they came to me. Eventually, they got their hands on me and my daughter, took us to this camp thing that looked like it had been set overnight. Now, I'm not saying this to create fear. I'm not saying this because I believe it's going to happen. But I don't know. I don't know, guys. I really don't know. Things like this, I try and not share because I don't want to create that fear. I really don't. But, things are going to escalate. It's got to escalate. Things have got to get worse before they get better. Now, I'm not condoning, what may or may not happen. I don't agree with what is happening, the actions our governments and our world leaders are taking. I don't agree with lives being lost. I don't agree with this genocide, this depopulation, this evil. I do not agree with any of it. I don't take sides. I'm just the witness. I'm just the experience. So I just share what I experience. So if anyone wants to check that video out, it's called Military Soldiers at Our Door, or Middle Eastern. I don't know. I'll leave that in the link, guys. But yeah, so I have hinted every now and again that some of us may be surprised. We know there are many wars, many conflicts. Ukraine and I can't think of the top of my head right now. It's just so much, guys. But we know we're seeing it. And these are real wars, real rockets hitting other countries, lives being lost, children's lives being lost. We're seeing this. Okay, it's not crisis actors, it's real. There are elements of crisis actors and some other false flag events, but as well as there are people that are being harmed in these events, these staged managed events as well. Okay, so I didn't want to share this, but I'm going to share it. Again, I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I don't know, guys. I hope it doesn't, but I wanted to share it because this is the third time now in the last year that I've had this experience. Again, I'm projected into a future timeline. We'll say future timeline, because many of you say there's no such thing as past, present, and future. Everything's happening all simultaneously. What happens is timelines can cross over, bleed through. Excuse me, guys. And manifest into our timeline. Anyway, It's confusing for some. I know it used to be for me, so I hope you understand what I mean. But I hope I make sense. So I live smack bang central England, and not that it really matters, but and in these experiences, I'm really struggling, guys. Obviously, don't want me to talk. Excuse me, guys. Oh, sorry about that. Really, I'm struggling. They're messing with my throat. A lot of us have implants in the throat chakra. It's deliberate, so they can mess with that whenever they don't want me to share certain things. I have an experience where I was given 24 hours to take down certain information a few years ago, and this reptilian tried to put something in my throat because I actually had. It was interesting because prior to that, I had a woman come out, a healer, and she removed an entity from my body as well as an energy in my throat. Sorry, guys. So when they took me, they tried to put that back in as well as threatening me and other people in the room. And they'd put it in and it was agonising. Anyway, and I don't suffer with my throat, but whenever I try and speak on things, they mess with my throat. Okay. So I have hinted in the past that this may surprise people, especially Europe, because the last time we had conflict, rockets, war was, many of you know, of course, obviously World War One, World War Two, but anything other than that, anything little, and I say little, there's nothing little is there with rockets and bombs and things, of course, it's all big things, but I hope you can hear me, guys. It's been a long time, okay? It's been a long time. And so I just need you to know that, if it really comes to a head, especially when they're fighting over resources, fighting over secrets, fighting to keep things hidden from us and the world, they will do. They will trample on each other. They will destroy each other's reputation and names. They may even try and kill each other. They will do whatever it is in their power to continue covering up the truths and delaying. They'll just do whatever it is. If that means them destroying themselves, they will. They will not give up without a fight. They will leave a destruction mess trail wherever they go, wherever they are, in order to protect themselves, their power, ego, hidden truths, information, everything, because there's a lot of things we know that these governments, these groups have been up to for a long time. And it's only going to be a matter of time before all of it comes up to the surface. Now, they are trying to manage it and slow it down, and a lot of it, when it comes out, is going to shock all of us, including me. We think we know a lot of the things they've been up to. We don't even know a quarter of it. We don't even know the half of it. So it's going to be shocking for everyone, including me and you listening now. So in a sense, I'm kind of glad that it isn't like boom overnight, because we would go into mass hysteria. Can you imagine? The planet would lose its shit. There'd have to be martial law just to control the panic and the anger, and people would just be losing it. They wouldn't be able to process. I'm talking about everything, guys. I'm not just talking about the evil, paedophilia, satanic shit, non-human entities on this planet. I'm talking about everything, our history, who we are, what we are, where we came from, what's been done to us, the whole why we're here, why we're being used, everything. It's all gonna come to a head eventually. It may take many years, but we're gonna get there eventually. But anyway, I'm just dragging it out. So let's get to it. Okay, so in this experience again, I was in the future. And especially where I live, there I saw it was like a rocket. It's like I don't know, like a missile. I just saw, sorry about my throat, guys. Things coming down like rockets, and it was interesting where they were hitting. They weren't hitting on top of like homes and things. They were targeting areas that was not heavily populated, like fields, warehouses, things like that, but very close. And it wasn't like one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. Okay, it was like one would come down. And of course, it would affect the buildings. It would cause severe shaking and damage and stuff like that. What I saw in this experience, there were some casualties. At least where I was, I can't say for anywhere else. I don't know if it happened anywhere else. I'm assuming if it happened where I was, it was happening in other parts of Europe. So it wasn't like raining on us constantly. It was like one missile rocket, a powerful one, but not like the mega ones. Every few hours or something, and we didn't know when the next one was going to come. We didn't know where to go. In that experience, the message that I got was the whoever it was didn't want to it was more not about harming anyone as such. It was more about getting a message across. Like, it's almost like testing us, like it's something to do with a deal. If a deal wasn't going to be accepted, or if the deal wasn't going to be made by a certain deadline, then it will go from dropping a small rocket every few hours, to full on, we're going to take your country out. It was a way to test our country and to get our governments to like really stand up and take whatever the issue was, seriously. So that was their tactic. I don't know if it escalated anymore, because I didn't get any more. That was it. That's all I got in that experience, at least memory wise. And that was the message that I got. Now, I don't believe it was Russia. I had my experience, with Putin. I had my experience with Putin. I forgot to add a little bit in that experience when I was sharing it, which is a little annoying. But, if you want to check that one out again, you'll find it in my list. But he did say that he doesn't want war. People, and this was years ago, and I shared it on my old channel, and this is what's happening now. And it's been happening on and off, of course. They always bring up the Putin thing, don't they? Putin wants war. Putin's threatening this and that, blah, blah. He doesn't want any of that. He doesn't want any of that. It's all propaganda. It's all rubbish. No one's falling for it. And, Putin is so chilled and laid back, like, it's unbelievable. Like, and he knows what's going on, do you know what I mean? He's not that sort of person. But the last thing he did share with me was, even though he is all that, he doesn't want any of that, and he is a peacemaker. He loves his country, he loves his people, he looks after his people, he takes care of his people, he does what someone in his position is supposed to do. I'm not saying he's an angel, but he does what he's supposed to do. He's doing right by his people. Now, again, I'm not into politics and governments and leaders. I really am not. I hate hierarchy, period, point blank. I hate that, but, I don't take sides. I'm not into any of that. Like I say, I'm just the experiencer. I'm just the witness. But what he did say, he said, but if it ever came to it, and harm did come to his people, or there were serious threats made to his country, then he will do whatever it is he needs to do to protect his country. and people. And no hate for the guy, no hate. You would, if you were, I've got goosebumps. If you were him, you would do whatever you need to do to protect your people, to protect your country. So that I'm annoyed that I didn't remember that when I share that experience. It often happens. And so, yeah. And again, 3 times this happened with, again, seeing, these mini missiles, if you like. I don't know what to call them. They were very thin rockets, white rockets. Yeah. So it's 3 times again. I was in that timeline and I saw, and again, I just want to say, doesn't mean to say I believe it's going to happen. Again, my agenda isn't to create fear. Part of me is just like, what's the point in sharing? It's not going to help anyone. What can they really do? If it's going to happen, it's going to happen, And but I just felt like I needed to, because I just couldn't really rest. It was like it kept happening. Now I just want to say as well, this is what I wanted to say earlier, I am aware that I am a MyLab, so this could quite possibly be I'm being used, given this false simulation experience. It could be a false simulation experience. It's hard to tell sometimes whether it's a simulated experience because it all feels real, or if it's me actually being in that timeline experience. Sometimes I can tell, sometimes I can't. This one, I can't, guys. I can't tell. So yeah. Again, so being a MyLab, they often use this to for their for their propaganda. And so for me, it's like, is this a warning? Is this something real that is going to happen, could potentially happen, or is it these motherfuckers, excuse my French, giving me these experiences, or false experiences, simulated experiences, because they know that I've got a platform and I can share it, and that will just amp up the fear, okay? And I don't want that. If that is the case, I don't want that to give them that power. So this is why I'm saying, and I'm telling you, that this could also be a possibility as well, that it could just be them using me to, again, create that fear. And it would be quite believable, especially with what's unfolding right now, okay? So, I don't trust in anything, anyone, even my own experiences and memories, because it's hard to tell sometimes what is manipulated, what is am I being used for propaganda, or what is my psychic abilities, what is what's real and what isn't, is what I'm trying to say. So I hope nothing like that happens. I really hope not, but I am a realist as well, and I've always felt for a long time and knew that things have got to get worse before they get better. I'm harp on a lot about my old channel and stuff, but even before my old channel that I had for over 3 years, way before that, before I even shared on any social media platforms, I were having these types of dreams, experiences, projected into the future, timelines, and everything else in between, So I've always had these types of things. So I'll leave it with you guys. Let me know, have you or know of anyone, psychics, whether you know them or not, perhaps yourself, have you had any of these types of experiences in regards to certain countries, especially Europe, going to some kind of mini war, or rockets, hitting our country? Let me know, guys, in the comments. Be interesting to know. But whatever you do, okay, don't let that fear in, okay? It's hard when you have these experiences, when you are a witness to things, when you know things, you've seen things. It's hard because it's important that people know, but at the same time, you don't want to create that fear. And I know this could do, and people could be angry at me. Like I say, it's not my fault. Okay, this is just my experiences and memories. I have many memories as well, and experiences of, again, I don't know what it's connected to. I don't know exactly, but I am where I live now, and places don't look the same. Okay, so our shops on the high streets, they're no longer usable. I don't know if it was some kind of um collapse, financial collapse, or what, I don't know, but society had collapsed, let's just say. And there were people walking around and there was no electricity. And I've mentioned this in other experiences. Again, I don't know if it's connected to this potential um uh with what I've just shared with the rockets and that. I don't know. I just get bits and pieces and memories from different experiences, and I wonder, are they connected? So, like I say, when I remember things, I remember other things. I'm like, is it connected or not? I don't know. But shops were unusable. There was no electricity, and this looked like it was something that was an issue for a long time. It wasn't like an overnight thing, a week thing. People had to wait until everything was back online. There was people that were struggling to get food. Now, we've got a shop where I live, popular shop. The cashier, the tills weren't working. Um, there was no fresh food, but we were kind of using it to take things of our own so we could exchange and barter goods with other people. And whatever had caused that, it actually caused us to come together, the people, and actually help one another. And that was beautiful. We were helping one another, making sure everyone had got things. I remember going to my neighbours, and the homes were filthy. Like, there was a lot of debris and dust and things like that. And in that particular experience, I never got the first part of what caused that. I could only guess. And I still didn't know, but then I'm having these dreams and experiences and memories of, what I've just spoken about. I'm like, this kind of lines up to that, right? So I don't know. Like I say, I'll just share what I share. But yeah, some of these homes, they were filthy. The kids were filthy. There was no water, no heating, no electricity. We had to kind of go around to some houses, empty houses, and for some reason the people weren't there, and kind of take what we could, clothes, furniture, and kind of, make some of these people's homes livable again. Give them beds and sofas and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, it was pretty bad, guys. And then it took me back to another experience that I had. Remember me sharing with you months ago? Can't remember what video it was, but in this experience, I was in the future and I was in bed in a completely different home. I was actually on a first floor building home, which is interesting because that's kind of when I do move, want to go to a place where there's no stairs because of my health, fibromyalgia and stuff like that. But anyway, and it was in the future. My daughter was older. She was in a new relationship with someone completely different. I was visibly older. Anyway, I'm in bed and I wake up because there's lights at the front of my house. My bedroom is at the front, and you look out the window, you could see the main street. Long story short, there was an extraterrestrial, a small extraterrestrial. He kind of looked. He wasn't a grey, guys, but I'm trying to remember. I think he had like blue skin. He was bold, large eyes. Um, he had definitely blue skin type, little uniform. He was a small guy. He didn't speak, and I was like, oh, it doesn't surprise me. Of course, someone like me, they've taken me up many times. I've had positive and negative experiences with different types of beings, but he was a positive little. He was a little cool dude. He was nice, got good energy, and I was like, oh, you're gonna take me up, what are we gonna do? Type thing. And he basically said telepathically, no, we're just here to deliver a message or show you something. Anyway, so he took me out onto the road, and in front on the road there was like this portal opening up, And so he pointed in that direction, and I walked through this portal. Physically, it looked like I was still in the same place, because on the other side I was still on the road, but I guess this was in the future. And I saw a series of things that played out around me. I'm so annoyed, and I remember when I shared this, I was even annoyed, because I was like, what was the point if I don't remember? I believe that my memories were messed with by my labs, those that take me. I believe they mess with them memories. Um, I, there was a series of things happening around me. They were showing me things that were going to happen or potentially happen. And I don't remember a lot of it. I did share what I did remember, but I'm just going to share this bit with you. I remember looking up to the sky, and there were things falling from the sky. It was like, now I'm thinking, was this connected to the other things I've just shared with you? Because there were objects. It was like, and I couldn't work out what it was. It wasn't rockets. It wasn't like asteroids or anything like that. It was like debris. It was like, yeah, it was like objects, I guess, like things that had broken or something. It was just falling from the sky, and everyone was running and stuff. So I don't know. Again, is it connected? I just wanted to share that with you guys. Anyway, I'm going to share with you a video, and then I'll it's related to the Greenland. Very interesting, and there's something that the guy, I don't know his name, mentions in this video. I just thought I'd just highlight that as well, because it made me wonder. I just shared something on my channel regarding, it was like a compilation of me sharing my memories, and one of my memories, it was definitely, I believe it was the secret space program mission, either on Earth, it looked like Earth, or a parallel world, another version of Earth, or in the future, or another time. I don't know. I can't make sense of these things. I just know I was there. And basically, long story short, there was, it looked like a giant. I couldn't get a clear enough visual to see if it was like a giant, as in like, you know, we hear about giants, humanoid looking, or a monstrous looking thing, or extraterrestrial. I don't know. I couldn't get a clear visual. I just knew it was very tall. Anyway, I'll share that video, and then I'll talk some more after.
Well, the spacecraft that is anchored in the center of Greenland created the last ice age 50,000 years ago. It's a weather machine. It's 55 miles wide, 300 miles long, and 2 miles high. The people that lived in it were called the Mois. If you draw a straight line from the spacecraft to the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C., through the Yucatan Peninsula Great Pyramid at Mitsubishi, it ends up on Easter Island, where the Mois have been dug out of this dirt. The heads on Easter Island, well, 2 years ago, they finally went ahead and they excavated, and they're all 65 to 85 foot people, full body carvings. And these were the people that lived in the spacecraft that was uncovered, that's melting out of the ice in Greenland.
I don't know if this is connected. I don't know if these Moise giants, I think that's what he called them, were the same giants as what me and my crew members were sent to basically monitor, get information, data, intel. And many of you might have seen that video I posted the other day. A compilation of my memories. I haven't got many views, to be honest, so probably you haven't seen it. But in one of the experiences and memories that I share, I think I just mentioned this as well before showing you this video. I believe it was a secret space program mission. We came down on the ships, through coverage, through fields and woods and stuff. And we quickly got off there. But it was only a few. I say a few. It's probably about 8 of us. Me and some other team members, if you like. And then we got our commander, sergeant, not particularly nice. But anyway, yeah, I only saw the one. There may have been more, but we only saw the one. And it was a giant, guys. It was a giant. It was huge. Couldn't get a proper visual to tell you if it looked humanoid or alien or anything like that, as I mentioned in that video. But we could feel it. We could feel the ground shaking, the vibrations, and we could see it between the the buildings and the forests. Where we were at, where we saw it, we was kind of like, there was some buildings there. There wasn't any people. There was no civilization in that particular area. It looked like hotels or apartments, something like that. Now, in that experience, I did say that it was kind of off the back, guys, and I don't know exactly, I don't remember, I just know it was very tall, but I think I said it was something like 15 stories high. It definitely wasn't that tall. I'm not good with heights and things like that. It was just off the back guess of how high this building was. And obviously, many of us know, we've heard about the giants that used to once roam the planet, the Nephilim, and there's many other giants that go by different names as well. And so I know what I saw was real, and I know when I shared that experience, I was like, I didn't want to share it because I thought it sounds absolutely insane. Because these were bigger than the Nephilims, like these were huge. These were like something you see out of those black and white movies with the, you remember those guys with the skeletons, they're like walking around with swords, and there's these giants. Like these were huge, and I was just like, whoa. I just knew that they were either the same level as these buildings or slightly just below. Again, it was just an estimate, guys, with how tall I said, this being was. But anyway, this guy in the video, he says moist beings. I don't know, let me know, have you heard of these beings? But yeah, he said they were, uh, obviously you just watched the video, I can't remember how tall he said they were, but I kind of, um, that would be about, and again, do your own maths, guys, but that would be about a building of the height of like 7 to 8 story high building, which is what I saw. A very tall building. Now, is this the same being? Is it connected to these beings, these giants? I don't know. I know we have over the years heard about, people seeing giants on top of hills and that they are walking amongst us, but they're hiding. And we've heard people seeing them and then they've been, taken out, if you know what I mean. We've heard that there are a lot of them still under the ice somewhere, and a lot of them are in stasis. A lot of them are on these arcs, asleep, and they're going to wake up. This is fascinating. It's fascinating, guys. I was never really fascinated at the time with all that because I was just like, oh, it's just stories. I'm very, a lot of times seeing is believing with me. So I'm not really too much into giants. But then when having my own experience, again with that mission, I was just like, holy shit, like it was real. And I didn't want to share it for a long time because it just sounds ridiculous, right? But anyway, like I said, I come across this guy's video only because I was looking for Greenland videos for the video that I just posted before this. And I saw it, and he mentioned these giants, these big giants that would be the size of 7.5, maybe pushing it 8, the size of an 8 story building. I just remember that. I just remember these big buildings. And anyway, if you want to check that video out, guys, I might share a bit more detail in that information, in that experience, sorry. If you want to check that out, that will be a video that I posted, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I can't remember because I've been doing back-to-back videos at the minute, but it's basically a compilation of memories. So I've done that because, some of my experiences and memories are very detailed, very vivid, and like there's a lot of information in there which has a video on its own. But when I have a lot of memories that are just snippets of it here, snippets there, don't make sense, I'll just occasionally I'll do like a compilation of different videos and memories, and to do a video that way. And I think I share these experiences even if it's not a lot, because I believe at some time in the future, things that I've shared about my experiences, things that I've seen, whether it's small, profound, or doesn't make sense, I do believe that information about certain things, not just from me, but from many people like me, is going to come out, which will help help me and others make sense of our memories and experiences, help us to, again, build that puzzle, see the bigger picture, as well as help, confirm. Not that I need confirmation when, if this information comes out over the years, because I do believe, excuse me, guys, I do believe a lot of things are going to come out. At it again. I do believe a lot of things are going to come out, and it's going to help us again make sense of this world of reality, as well as people watch this video, they're going to be like, oh my god, I've had that exact same experience, I've had that exact same dream or memory. And that's how it is, and this is why they want to divide us, because they know we all hold a piece of the puzzle, okay, aka tiny small memories that don't make sense, right? So when we come together, we trigger each other's memories, we validate each other's experiences, it helps. And that is a proof of evidence. I don't care what anyone wants to say. That is some kind of evidence. Because when enough people come together that have had the same experiences and memories, we come together, we build a picture, like a map. Well, I guess really only those that have had those experiences are going to be only those types that are going to believe, I guess. But it is hard to provide any kind of proof. It really is hard, guys. It really is. But you know what? I think a lot of us have been through a lot of things. We are being used, and a lot of us don't have our memories yet. But this is the thing, isn't it? As we are going through our awakening or re-remembering, aka spiritual awakening, or whatever you want to call it, and as well, when I share some of my things, it triggers memories in other people. But like, oh my god, I had that experience or that dream. It never made sense, and wow, now I was definitely doing something. I was definitely, like, it was real. It just helps us make sense of things. We're just the best that we can do right now, for a lot of us. Yeah, but I'm sure, a lot of things will make more sense in the future. And I struggle. I think, what's the point? It doesn't make sense. It's pointless sharing any of this. But the dots will connect. The dots will connect eventually, and we'll see the bigger picture. Not now, but definitely in the future, I do believe. So I think that's everything I wanted to share. Yeah, let me know, guys. What do you think's going on with Greenland? What do you think's there? Yeah, it'd be interesting to know. Have you got any information about these giants? Fascinating, isn't it? It is now for me, because it's like, whoa, listening to that video, I knew it wasn't, anything ridiculous. Like, it was a real experience. And yeah, so I don't know, are these giant, was I in the future? Was I in a timeline that this experience took place? A lot of things I do when they take me is not in this timeline, it's in the future. So very interesting. Are the giants waking up? I don't know. It sounds crazy, I know, but who knows? Who knows? But anyway, guys, that's it. That's all I need to share in this video. I'm going to love you and leave you all. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Lets me know that you enjoy this content, whether you believe in it or not. Perhaps it's just entertainment for you. Or perhaps, I don't know, perhaps you really do enjoy it. But let me know, guys. When you give me a thumbs up, it tells me that you support me, support my channel, and it helps to keep me going. It helps me keep pushing and sharing my experiences. To me, it lets me know that you support me, because a lot of us don't get enough support. And yeah, it is hard. But anyway, guys, sorry about all the coughing and choking. It's happening a lot lately. Whenever I'm sharing certain things, it's very annoying. But anyway, guys, I'm going to stop rambling, and I'll speak to you in a new upload. Take care, guys.